Hello and welcome to Those Working Fangirls, where we talk all things nerdy book, TV, movie, pop culture, fandoms, and how they integrate into our adult lives. I'm Christine.
And I'm Natasha.
And today we're talking all things Tortured Poets Department Part 2, because we didn't get through the whole album last week. If you missed last week's episode, you really should go listen to that before this one, because we started going through the album. We made it to about track 9, and I mean, I was like, this isn't the deep dive. We're not deep diving because I need a month with the album first, and then it ended up being a deep dive because I can't talk about Taylor's lyrics without deep diving. And then for this half, I was on the plane from New Jersey going through literally everything ever in full research girl mode, and I have 26 pages of notes, and I only got through the prophecy. So I have a lot to talk about.
She's texting me from the plane. She's like, look at my timeline. Look at my notes. And I was like, ooh, yay. And then she texted the same thing to Chloe. And Chloe, what did she call you?
Chloe was like, this is the most psycho thing I've ever seen. You have the handwriting of a serial killer. It's like, how many serial killers do you even know?
I know. And then I was also on the phone with Chloe, and I'm like, yeah, we have to get through checks 9 through 31.
Okay, well, I'm not going to put any pressure on that because we have a lot to discuss, and I don't want to miss it. But before that, we have a couple. We're not doing what right now today because we're going to try to get as much Taylor Swift stuff in here as possible. And okay, Nicole just said, I love the defense. How many serial killers do you even know? I was just gonna also say that there was this viral tweet about Taylor Swift, and it was like showing all her clues and crazy shit, and they were like, thank God she became a singer and not a serial killer. This is why Taylor and I are on the same wavelength. We go hard with our research. A couple quick snap, crackle, pop culture news things. Natasha, what do you have for us?
We're going to make this quick. Lovesteria tickets are on sale for my ball happening in LA.
Natasha,
and
what's a ball?
Oh, a ball is like a big dance party, but you come in really fancy clothes. It's like a prom.
You come like Bridgerton.
Yeah. You come like Bridgerton. It's like a prom, but like better because it's for all the ladies and the boys and the
how is it, like,
and the non-genders.
Books?
What? How is it related to books?
You're
it's
having
just like
a book fair. I'm setting you up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we're also having a book fair on Saturday with authors. And also, if you're an author in LA and you want to be at the book fair, like hit me up, Natasha. I think it's Natasha at lovestereo.com. Email me if you want to be a vendor, if you have a small shop or anything like that. We'd love to have you.
Cool. And the one other thing we have today for Snap Crackle Pop Culture News is I'm going on a book tour for Attached at the Hip. Very exciting. I am announcing it tomorrow, which will already be now when you guys hear this episode. And you guys already got the announcement last Friday.
Yes.
But the book tour kicks off in Portland. So on May 21st, I will be at Powell's, the Beaverton location, at 7 p.m. And then on May 22nd, I'm going to be at the Ripped Bodice in LA/Culver City with Natasha in conversation with me. And that is at 7 p.m. That one is ticketed, but your ticket is a book. So like when any of these are ticketed, the ticket is buying a book to support both my release and the bookstore, the indie bookshop that it's coming from. So that one is ticketed, and there's a link in the show notes. Please come if you're in the Southern California area, because this is the hardest place to like wrangle people to come to an event, because it's in such a busy city where things are happening every night. And I just know if I know you at all, please come. If I don't know you, please come. Like, we want to meet you. We want to celebrate with you. And my mom's going to be there. It's going to be a special event. Natasha's doing the conversation. It's going to be really fun. And I have a whole plan to do like a little TikTok with the audience. It should be fun. Anyway, tickets and a link in the show notes at the Ripped Bodice, which is such a beautiful, epic romance bookshop in Culver City. So if you haven't seen that yet, it's a chance to visit that bookstore. And then on May 23rd, I'm going to be in Philly at Reeds and Company at 7 p.m. At May 24th, I'm going to be at the Barnes & Noble in Union, New Jersey with special guest Hannah Maehrer, who wrote Assistant to the Villain. I'm so excited to be in conversation with her. It's going to be so fun. That's at 5 p.m., the New Jersey one.
I love her.
Yes. I'm so excited to meet her. She's so fun. If you don't know, she is on Book Talk and all the socials. And she's so sweet. She used to watch our videos, and she's been so nice when I asked her if she'd come do the In Conversation. So I'm so excited to like hang out with her in person. And y'all can too at the New Jersey stop on May 24th at 5 p.m. Okay, I was in New Jersey this weekend at my sister's bridal shower, and literally all these people I haven't seen in a million years come to this bridal shower for my sister. And I know all of them, but I haven't seen them in a long time. And every single person, my mom's like, Christine, hey, when's your New Jersey event? And I've told my mom like 10,000 times, May 24th, 5 p.m., Barnes & Noble, Union, New Jersey. But I must have come over and said that to like 10 different people. And then they would come to me after and be like, so when's your event again? I'm like, oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to announce it so you can see on hard paper on the internet. But I will text you too if you really want to know and you can't find it. But yeah, so I announced that one like 100 times this past weekend. Okay. Then May 28th, I'm going to be in St. Louis, Missouri at Novel Neighbor. I think it's actually being held somewhere else, but it's being hosted by Novel Neighbor, and I'll be in conversation with Jessie George of Jessie the Reader, which is going to be super fun. Then on May 29th, I'm going to be in Murrieta, Georgia, which is, I think, outside Atlanta, Georgia. Cheyenne is asking if any of those Forking Fangirls listeners are coming and wants to do a meetup. So if you do, maybe mention it in the comments of the post about this episode or something, or comment somewhere, because that is a really great idea.
We should, I mean, when you announce your tour, we should probably announce it on Forking Fangirls, and then people can kind of figure out who is attending where on that post.
Oh, on the post too. Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean like double it? Wait, what are you saying?
Well, like Chloe can make a little post.
We'll do a post to see if we could, to organize meetups and stuff. Okay, that's a great idea. So everyone knows the Murrieta, Georgia one is not like the event style signing. Like the other ones are going to be event style, like in conversation. Murrieta, Georgia is like a signing where I'll be like talking meet and greet signing without the event beforehand. So I'm going to be talking to everybody and we can take pictures and chat and all that stuff. There just won't be like beforehand where we have like, presentation. Even in conversation with another person. The bookstore was like, we don't have room for that. And that's at Half Price Books, the Murrieta, Georgia ones. And then May 30th is the final event in Orlando, Florida. And I'm going to be in conversation with Robbie Weber.
Yay!
Our fellow Bookternet author, Robbie Weber. He is so fun. And he has 3 books. They're, I always mess up their names because they're like song lyrics, but I think Take a Chance on Me.
Yep.
It's the first book. And the second book is, I'm blanking, but the third book is coming out in September, I think. I will link his books.
Okay.
So you can look them up and I won't be butchering them because I love the titles, but when the titles have lyrics that just like pull my brain to a song, I have so much trouble like remembering them in hindsight. All right. Anyway, so that is the tour. I'm so excited. There are ticket links in the show notes as well. So I know the Orlando one's ticketed. I think the Murrieta, Georgia one is ticketed. and then LA, and I'm not sure about the other ones yet. So there will be links if they're ticketed. All right.
I'm so excited for you. Book 3, almost here.
Thank you.
We
I'm
made
so
it.
Excited too. Okay, we're going to move into our main discussion, but first we want to take a second to thank our listeners. We appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for being here with us. If you don't already, we'd love it if you followed the show for free in your favorite podcast listening app so you never miss an episode. And if you like to watch the visual version, which is on youtube.com/@those4kingfangirls, we'd love it if you subscribe for free there so you never miss an episode on the YouTube channel. And we also, if you don't know, have a Patreon because this is a viewer-supported show. We couldn't do this without our patrons support. We appreciate you guys so much. We have a really beautiful community over there. And we have 3 different tiers. The first tier is called Team Jacob. And at that $5 level, you get to have the show ad-free, which is a beautiful time. You also get to come to recordings and be a part of the conversation as we're discussing things in the chat. Those are our patrons that are commenting and adding different things. And you also get access to all of our episodes of Fangirl Tea Time, which is the extra half an hour show that we do at the end of every single show with more in-depth stories about what's going on in our lives, just more personal things and funny stuff that we don't feel comfortable talking about on the main show, but like we love to chat about it with our Patreon community. It's a beautiful time. And then we have 2 other tiers, and those also have really fun perks. You could check out what they are at the link in the show notes. And we offer a free trial for the $5 tier if you want to give it a go for 7 days before you commit. And if you subscribe annually to the Patreon, you save 16%, which is about a month and a half worth of Patreon. So cool stuff, guys. All right. We will be right back with TTPD Part 2, Decoding Part 2 after these messages. All right, we're back. Hi. So we ended on Guilty as Sin, but I wanted to add some things about Fresh Out the Slammer because there's more in there, and I was too, I didn't have my 70 pages of notes, so I...
Oh my, we're going back?
We have to just go back a little bit because Fresh Out the Slammer lyrics actually play into a lot of threads that you'll see throughout the rest of the album. But I know how a lot of people thought this was about Maddie and still think it's about Maddie, and how I actually think it's about Joe after looking deeper into it because I thought the same thing. And I feel like there's some really Joey lyrics in here that I didn't point out last time that make completely make it there's no option of it being not about Joe. But okay, so Fresh Out the Slammer, there's this lyric: splintered back in winter, silent dinners, he was with her in dreams. I don't know if she says it to that tune. I just listened to the second half of the album this morning, and I might be singing it to a song. But splintered back in winter, silent dinners, he was with her in dreams is a clear callback to Joe and their resentment building. And splintered, I think that's when they went on their break. And he was with her in dreams. So he was with, the whatever girl that he was wondering what if about. The one that he met on the internet, the one that she references all the time. And then, she talks about how she was thinking about other people too. And then years of labor, locks and ceilings, years of labor in their relationship. I just feel like it's a clear indication that this was she was going back to him. He was the first call out the slammer, and I think he put her in the slammer because he was you cheated. And she did her time. So she's it should be fine now. And her time was, being away from him and learning with Maddie and all that shit, that she still loves him. Anyway, as I said in my letters, now that I know better, I will never lose my baby again. She's not talking about Maddie. We're not going to call Maddie that at all. And then there is a callback to Cruel Summer. There's a lot of Cruel Summer callbacks. So the deeper I looked into this, the more I started seeing dark mirrors of lover stuff that she said. Not dark mirrors, sad mirrors. But all through Lover and Reputation, we talk about Joe being blue. I've talked about this a lot in my other breakdowns, but like he's blue. The color blue is Joe. And she talks about in painting his shades of blue gray, and she talks about her face being gray and you're losing me, like she's dying. Cruel Summer obviously is about a cruel summer. In this song she says like another summer taking cover, and she has like gray and blue tunnels, and there's just a lot.
So does she say cruel summer in Fresh Out the Slammer?
She doesn't say cruel summer. She says another summer taking cover, like another cruel summer, basically, is what I am interpreting that as.
She talks about, well, her sparkling summer.
Yes. Well, that's, I think, Era's tour.
Yes. Like, did you think Cruel Summer is like a sad song for her?
It's a summer that it's like a stressful song. I feel like she's in a situationship with Joe at that time, and she's like falling in love with him, but he doesn't want to commit. And they're like kind of friends with benefiting is what I'm getting in retrospect. Because Cruel Summer, she talks about sneaking into his gate late at night, and being with him, in secret and such. And I feel like she will reference that in coming songs. But so that's the callback to Fresh Out the Slammer. We can start now with Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? That's where we ended. Okay. This song, out of 5 stars, I give it 10 stars. What about you? How do you feel about Who's Afraid of Little Old Me?
It's like, I think, my favorite song on the album.
It's so good.
So when I first heard it, this was like the first one we were like, what? Because she just screams it. And then she goes, who's afraid? What's the next line after that?
Of little old me, you should be.
You should be. Yeah.
I love
it's so good.
I ate it up. I was like, oh, this is like Reputation meets folklore. Like the vibe is totally folklore, but like the lyrics are totally Reputation.
Yeah. And it's giving like the witchy vibes, and I feel like it really called back to when everyone there's so many naysayers in the Christian community who are like, she's a witch, or like they would take like a video of her during Evermore and like, this is satanic.
Oh my god.
So that's immediately what I drew to with this song, is just everyone condemning her for these witch rumors.
I mean, I think that's like an overarching theme we can definitely pull from it. If we dig a little deeper, I think she's talking about like 2 like big things in her life. One being like Joe is definitely afraid of her trashing him in the media and his good name. And like that's a big part of, she talks about like the albatross and how like when he was first seeing her, everyone was like warning him about her and like, you don't want her to like mess up your reputation and all that shit. But he, killed the messengers and like went ahead and chose this life with her, this like dangerous life where she has like so much power over his reputation, but also where people are watching them all the time. And in the albatross, sorry to talk about the albatross here, but it ties back. Like in the albatross, she talks about how when they came for him and they were together, she came and saved him. She would like spread her wings like a parachute and became his angel. And I think a lot of that is the way they handled his cheating the first time. Like all their friends were kind of turning on him, it sounds like, but like she was like, no, like we're working through it, and for the general public it was like completely contained. She wrote Folklore and Evermore, and it was all hidden within layers and layers of metaphor and all that shit, like stuff like that. And she talks about in the Albatross how like she will tell him that it doesn't matter because she's been through it, she's been persona non grata, and at the end, now they're over, and she's like, she's the albatross and she's coming to get you.
Okay. I mean, I love this, but I also I don't feel like this one is really like about Joe. I do feel it's. I know you did all your deep dive,
Oh
but like
no,
there's
I
so
know.
many callbacks.
Well, are you talking about Little Old Me or the Albatross?
Who's Afraid of Little Old Me?
Okay, I think Who's Afraid of Little Old Me is a general thing also about like Scooter Braun and shit. Like I feel like it's a bunch of it's like because I also read a lot about how Joe wanted her to sign an NDA while they were together that she wouldn't like mention his name in songs. And he's like afraid of her reputation, like him ruining her reputation. She says it in a bunch of songs. She's like, I'm not going to ruin your good name. Like, you're so holier than thou, my holy ghost. Like, she says it in this song too. Okay. In this song, though, I love the lyrics in this song. I think it's like perfection. It's like the scandal was contained. The bullet had just grazed. At all costs, keep your good name. Like, literally, that's. Like, and I feel like this scandal.
Do you think like the scandal was the cheating?
I think the scandal, like she's referring to, could easily be like the first time he cheated, or it could even be like what happened when they broke up. You know, because there was definitely cheating involved there. But I also think it could be referring to there's so much shit that went down with fucking Scooter Braun that just got like fucking swept under the rug. She talks about this in Cassandra. I think in the Cassandra she's talking about that, or she's talking about all the stuff with Kanye. But like she says that when the truth comes out, it's so quiet. Like everyone throws stones at the first person who tries to bring it up, and then they try to burn her. And then when the actual truth comes out and she's right, everyone's just silent. But anyway. Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, I think, is talking about like her, how it's so fresh. It's so hard for her to be in a relationship with anyone because everyone's afraid of her. Because she can come for you so easily and ruin your reputation.
There's also, I mean, there's a few of my favorite lines in here.
Yes.
Like she put narcotics into all her songs.
Of her songs, and that's why you keep singing along. Yeah.
And then the big one that people are even using is the I just used it. The asylum line. Yeah.
You wouldn't last an hour in the asylum where they raised me. I love that. And I love when she's like, okay, so this is the one that ties throughout some of the other songs. She's like, is it a wonder I broke? Let's hear one more joke. And in another song, when she's talking about Joe, she like references like another esoteric joke. So a joke. Oh, Laura's like JOE-KE, a joke. So I also love when she's like, so all your kids can sneak into my house with all the cobwebs. So all you kids can sneak into my house with all the cobwebs. And I feel like in my head, that is like the house of like the lover house and like Joe's future kids. But it also is like a bigger meaning, like us like going into this house that's like, you know, it's gone and done, but we're trying to like detective what happened. But like I can just picture like his grandkids asking about how when he dated Taylor Swift, like what was it like? What happened? Okay. I love the line that's like, I was gentle until the circus life made me mean. Don't you worry, folks, they took out all her teeth. Like, oh, so good. You caged me and then you called me crazy. I am what I am because you trained me. Oh, I love that. I love it so much.
Laura says, I also love that I'll sue you if you step on my lawn.
Yeah, that I'm wretched. Fearsome.
Fearsome, yeah.
Yeah, it's just so good. And I think that I am what I am because you trained me kind of also can call back to Joe and the way that he wanted them to keep their life so private. And how it affected their relationship and her relationship with the world, honestly, and her mental state. Those are my notes for Who's Afraid of Little Old Me. I fucking love it. And I don't know if it's my absolute favorite on the album, but I think it is. I can't like gauge because I like a lot of them a lot now.
I know, me too. I can't wait to get to the song when I'm like listening from the top of the album.
Yeah. It's a blasted in your car song. For sure.
Yeah, it's so good.
Should we move on to track 11? I can fix him. No, really,
Okay.
I can.
So this is a song that I think this is my least favorite on the entire album.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I didn't really so I listened to the album probably about 10 times over the weekend because I was sewing my Grogu dress for Star Wars night, and because I knew this was coming up. And this is the song that I just like it. I don't like the beginning of it is so jarring for me. Like I know she's setting like a tone and I can see it cinematically. It's a Western or like I feel like this is like a Johnny Cash type of situation. And she's setting this like cinematic landscape in your mind of like her walking up to a guy and like, so he's mine, don't worry, and he's like drunk and he's like sitting at a bar and she's got to come up and kind of like get him out of there.
Cloud.
Yeah. I don't, there's not like a hook for me in this song. And I was feeling that about Guilty as Sin until there is like a really good hook and the chorus is really fun.
Yeah. I feel like the more you
there's just not a good chorus or what?
I feel like one will come out the more you listen, probably.
Yeah, I had some respect for it like the last time I listened to it because I could see it in my mind, like the story that she was painting for us. But it still is not my favorite. I can't really get behind it, especially when it comes after Who's Afraid of Little Old Me. I'm just like, ugh, next.
All right. So this song, I pulled a lot of stuff from this song that kind of started connecting for me to other songs.
How did you feel about this song at first?
I liked it. I honestly, it's not like catchy for me. Like I can fix him. No, really, I can is not like, it reminds me of, oh my God, what is that song with the boots? Fellow Cowboy on Evermore. I can't remember the name of it right now. Do you know what I'm talking about? The Cowboy song? Cowboy Like Me.
Yeah.
The tone reminds me of Cowboy Like Me, but like he's a bad boy. And there's a lot of references in the past. Like, okay, if we look at Blank Space, like I can make the bad boys good for a weekend. And then on Reputation, what song is it where she's like, bad boy with a price, you know I bought it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that from Cruel Summer too? That might be from Cruel Summer. But she has a thing for like the idea of making a bad boy a good boy, and that is like what she's digging into in this song. She's like, good boy, do this. I can fix it. No, really, I can. But
so I don't know if you saw this, but the way that this is titled is a callback to how the 1975 titled their songs with the like with the parentheses.
Do they do that with all of theirs?
A lot of them, yes.
Okay, because I know a lot of artists that do that now too.
But like there's, if you look at their tracks,
track list?
most of them, yeah, are like that.
Cool. Well, I mean, it's definitely like a plea about Maddie. I could fix him. Wait, maybe I can't. Whoa, maybe I can't. Okay, so in this song, she says his hand so calloused from his pistol, softly drawing hearts on my face or something. And there's a lot of references to a gun trailing through this album. And I started, linking them together. And I started like like looking at it a little differently after I started paying more attention to the gun references. Okay, so in The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived, she said, "Did you sleep with a pistol under our bed? Like, did you want me dead?" And then in So Long London, I thought it said 2 graves, 1 gone. But it says 2 graves, 1 gun. And I'm wondering if she looks at like Maddie as the final gun in their relationship that like murdered everything. Yeah. And she says you should be in prison in The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. And I'm like, does it have something to do with all these fucking gun references? Like, what is going on with like Maddie? What the fuck? But yeah, that 2 graves, 1 gun line hit me like, whoa, 1 gun? Okay.
I thought it was 2 graves, 1 gone.
Yeah, it's 1 gun in the lyrics. So
wait, are you sure? Did you check?
I read the lyrics off of Spotify. That's where I was reading all the lyrics. You can check it again. But it says 1 gun. And that changes the whole frame of that song on the album. Because it does make sense that she could view him that way because of when he came into her life and how she clearly tried to go back to Joe for a second, in my opinion, after to try to make it work. And it didn't. So.
Yeah. She does talk about, though, like taking the magic move on drug, which is Maddie.
That again is Maddie, but then like she didn't move on. She talks about it in "I'm Gonna Get You Back," which we'll get to.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Where are we? Cruel Summer. What doesn't kill me makes you want me. Oh yeah. Okay. So there's a line in Cruel Summer that says, "What doesn't kill me makes me want you more." And then the same sort of line shows up in Tortured Poets Department. I don't have the song written down right here, but like she says, what doesn't kill you makes you more aware, which is like a very logical mirror of that line. And then of course, in All Through Lover, she talks about Joe bringing her to heaven. So like all the songs in this album where she's talking about like heaven, I was heaven struck. I was, the cosmos. You took me up to space, lunar valleys, like all that stuff. I feel like I associate with the way she views her love with Joe. It's like otherworldly. And she also in Cruel Summer, like, I'm always waiting for you just to cut me to the bone. She also talks about like her bones being sawed out in this album.
Okay, wait, what is this in reference to?
So I'm just like kind of setting up because it's like in a lot of songs in this album.
Okay.
Because she also says, "And if I bleed, you'll be the last to know" in Cruel Summer. And she talks about so much blood. In reference to the end of their relationship. Like, I wake up in blood. And I also started thinking about, like, when she says I screamed in her songs, because in, of course, Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, she screams, "Who's afraid of little old me?" And in Cruel Summer, she screams for whatever it's worth, "I love you, ain't that the worst thing you ever heard?" I feel like that connected right back to that. And okay, this is also a note about Fresh Out the Slammer. This is how my mind trickled through this. In Fresh Out the Slammer, she says, "Running back to the house where you still wait up and the porch light gleams." I feel like that connects back to the Cruel Summer references of like running back, like waiting up the garden gate at night. Yeah, and she also has also back in Lover and Rep and all of those albums, she references smoke and like with her relationship with Joe, like, and like Lavender Haze. And so in this album, when she says like I still miss the smoke, and I think that's all a reference back to Joe as well. He says like he burned her to ashes in folklore. And then there's all this like, their relationship was kind of like a phoenix rising from the ashes over and over again after everything bad happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Laura says there's a lot of war soldier imagery with relation to Joe.
yes.
Also, Bradley mentioned that there's a double gunshot in the production of If I Can Fix Him.
Ooh.
I Can Fix Him.
Shit. Okay. Yeah. So in Fresh Out the Slammer, it says like, took the matches, tossed the ashes. And I feel like they're tossing. She's thinking of like tossing the ashes of their relationship and starting over again. Because they burned it down. Okay. What's the next song we have here? Oh, Love of My Life.
Love of My Life.
Okay.
Ugh.
I've come to my timeline page. Do we want to go through the timeline that I put together? Sure. Okay.
Yes.
So in the song we just referenced, I Can Fix Him, No Really Can. There's a reference to like a 6-lane Texas highway. And in Florida, we're going to like go,
we're going to Florida.
We're going to Florida. No, but we're going to go, batten down the hatches in the shitstorm in Texas. Like, wait out the shitstorm in Texas. So I needed to know when we were in Texas for the Eras tour and when we were in Florida. Okay. So March 31st, okay, when she is her first night in Arlington, Texas, she changes Invisible String to The One. And in The One, she's talking about it would have been fun if you were the one, but you're not. All right. And Invisible String is about her love with Joe and how they're fated to be together. Okay. So she is there until April 2nd and then in Texas. And then in April 8th is when the news drops that she and Joe are broken up on all of the news avenues on the internet, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's right before her Tampa, Florida stretch, where she's there doing shows from April 13th to the 15th. So she could have already been in Florida because April 2nd is when it ended in Texas. And then she started April 13th to 15th in Florida. And then she went back to Houston, Texas, April 21st to 22nd. So this is literally sandwiched between Texas, Florida, which is really interesting to me.
Yeah, that's interesting for a tour to like not tour all of Texas and then
It must have been like when different venues were open and stuff. But
that's true.
yeah. And then, okay. So my timeline of her and Joe, from what I've discerned from this album, is that they went on a break back in winter and she could possibly be talking about looking through people's windows in winter 2023. But like, if you want to imagine that it was over Christmas that they splintered, you could imagine that happening around Christmas. And then they're trying to like work through this break. She has like February is so long. She talks about that in the Tortured Poets department. It has like an endless February. And we're leading up to the beginning of the Eras tour. And in January, she performs with the 1975 as a surprise at their show in London. So she's already like reconnected with Maddie during this time, which we've also discerned that she was like thinking maybe about Maddie during this time where she's on a break with Joe, but they're not like broken up. And then we have Texas, which feels like hell in this album. It feels like where bad stuff started to happen because she talks about it not being above board. She's like not quite sure. And she talks about in The Smallest Man I've Ever Known, or Smallest Man That Ever Lived, that it wasn't sexy when it wasn't forbidden. And there's this like little window between when she actually broke up with Joe, probably when she changed the song, and when we found out April 8th, where it might have been considered like forbidden, or it could possibly have been before that, when she felt like she started cheating.
Well, because she hadn't been in the limelight, so no one, no one really knew what was going on in her personal life. Because I remember at the beginning of the show, because it started in Arizona, right, in March
Yes, March 24th
or in
or
February,
something.
March,
Or March 18th.
yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, "Where's Joe? Like Joe's not at the show." Um, and I think I'm assuming is right when she changed the invisible string, people started like really talking about like what happened.
So, and then, yeah, Maddie was seen at the shows in, Maddie was seen with her like through the beginning of May and through like May.
Bradley
15th.
says Maddie went to all the Florida shows.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was there with her in Florida, I think. But that was, but like she was seen with him like through like May 15th. And I think that's the last time they were like seen out together. And then I went through and looked at all the surprise songs that correlated with these days.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So on March
So what was in
31st,
Houston or
March 31st, when Invisible String changed, she sang sad, beautiful, tragic.
when was she crying? Was that around
I mean,
that
I'm
time?
sure
I
that
knew
was
she cried.
throughout a lot of shows because
Yeah.
okay, on April 1st, right after that show, she sang Death by a Thousand Cuts and Clean. Okay? April 14th, right after the breakup was announced, she sang The Great War and You're on Your Own, Kid.
Oh.
The next day, April 15th, she sang Mad Woman, and now I think she's probably being seen with, let me see, what is the 14th? Are we in Florida? Yes, she's being seen with Maddie. Mad Woman and Mean. Okay. Okay, now is when comes my like deep dive other theory. So May 22nd now is like she's now done. We've seen her last with Maddie the 15th, and an article comes out at the beginning of June that they've been broken up for a while and that they're done. Okay, so May 22nd is when I think she almost got back together with Joe or tried to see Joe again, because through the songs, if we're gonna flip to where did I start talking about this? Okay, if you flip ahead to the Black Dog, right? Old habits die
6 weeks.
screaming. We're again the screaming reference with Joe, with Cruel Summer, and with Who's Afraid of Little Old Me. So we referenced her best laid plans in this song, which like goes back to Mastermind, best laid plans, hoax, my best laid plan. And let's see, hole in the wall, bars have always been their thing. So the Black Dog is about, I think we all agree it's about Joe.
Oh yeah.
So she wants to sell her house and set fire to all her clothes she talks about in the Black Dog. And then we can bring that back around to Down Bad, where she talks about clothes. Did you take all my old clothes just to leave me here naked and alone? I really think that
What does that mean?
I think this means, okay, she associates all her like normal outfits and stuff with Joe because they live together and like there's memories attached to him with all of them. I think like she feels like he has ownership over all of them because they were living together in like the little folklore bubble for so long. And she started dressing like kind of in like more manly clothing. So a lot of them, you know, kind of probably feel like Joe. You know, like the folklore jacket and like the hats and all of that like old timey agey stuff that she's wearing for a while.
Yeah.
And She also says, and I still can't believe it. And there's a lot of that in folklore. Like, hoax is basically like, I can't believe you were unfaithful to me. You're the that's the hoax. But anyway, what I'm relating back to now in the Black Dog, there's this unconnected line that like I couldn't frame it. I was like, what is she talking about? Where she's like, I don't understand how you don't miss me in the shower and remember how my rain-soaked body was shaking. Do you hate me? Okay, so I'm like, rain-soaked body. Okay, she had like an intense rain show on May 22nd. That was the show at Gillette with the terrible rainstorm. Okay,
Yeah.
and that was 6 weeks in the Black Dog. She says 6 weeks
6
clean.
weeks.
Yeah. And I still miss the smoke. If you go 6 weeks back, that is April 8th, the week that it was announced that they broke up. So I'm like, was Joe at that show? That's my new theory, that he was like there, because the surprise songs at the May 21st show, it's May 21st, not the 22nd. I wrote the wrong date and then I crossed it out and corrected myself later on. May 21st. Was he at that show? The surprise songs were I Think He Knows and Red. So I am like, when she sang I Think He Knows, I remember thinking to myself, like, is she trying to get back together with Joe because she's singing a lover song? Like, that is a song about how she thinks he knows that she loves him so much. Anyway, okay, so that song, where was I connecting this to? Oh, I was connecting it to the timeline. So that May 22nd was the rain show, and I feel like at that time is where also we have the song I'm gonna get you back. I feel like that is that night. I feel like that feeling that I'm gonna get you back is the night where like she saw him again and she was like, I don't know if we're gonna get back together or if I'm gonna like fucking be mad as shit at him, but like she still has feelings for him, and this is her running back to him. Her first call out the slammer was to Joe, like right after they broke up.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to say some feelings?
A few things.
I have lots of other notes on this. Keep going. Go ahead.
Hold on. Laura said May 14th we got Hey Steven, which is apparently Maddie's favorite song.
Mm-hmm. That's the last time we saw her with it.
Bradley says, also the raining in the Fortnite video when she's on top of the phone booth and like Post Malone's trying to call her and like reach her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Okay, so in I'm Gonna Get You Back. Okay, she's talking about like she doesn't know if she wants him back, but like she wants him back. And they're at a bar. That's their place in this little story she's telling, and I'm gonna get you back. And she can tell when someone still wants her, and she's saying, "You were never not mine." That's like she's only gonna say that about Joe. Like, you were never not mine. Or you like? Did I imagine that he? What is it? The line in like Guilty as Sin? Like, did he write? Is mine written on his upper thigh only in my imagination?
Oh,
or
yeah.
What the fuck she says. And she's like, we're going to push the reset button. We're becoming something new. So, like, I feel like they might have hooked up that night.
Crackpot theory.
Fresh out the slammer. I want to get you back. Say you're with somebody. I'll say I got someone too. Even if it's handcuffed, I'm leaving here with you. Bygones will be bygones. Eras falling into gray. Like, I feel like we broke all the pieces but still want to play the game. I told my friends, I hate you, but I love you just the same. Pick your poison, baby. I'm poison all the same.
Okay, so there's a couple references to her friends, like how did it end? And then that line right there. When was the great unfollowing? Do you have that in the timeline?
I literally wrote it down. The great unfollowing it was April 19th. I mean, that was the great unfollowing, the day that the Tortured Poets dropped. So this all lines up with my timeline here. And pick your poison, baby. I'm poison all the same. Like, pick your poison. Like, you're either going to be like the object of my breakup in all these songs, or you're going to be with me. And I'm poison to you in a different way that way, because we're in the spotlight all the time and you don't like it. And bygones will be bygones are like they're cheating shit. Like all the issues they've been trying to go through. And even if I'm handcuffed, I'm leaving here with you. Like goes all back to like, I'll be your jailer. Like I was fresh in the slammer. Like all these jail references that she's talking about with Joe. Like, so I feel like I saw a lot of people talking about how like the Fresh Out the Slammer is about Maddie because the jail was with Joe. But I think Joe was the jailer. Joe put her in the slammer, and she's talking about the slammer being her time where she wasn't with him and she was with Maddie.
What's that song where she's like, welcome to your jailer?
It's Are You Ready For It? He'll be my jailer, Burton to his tailor. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's on Reputation when they were falling in love. Yeah. So I really feel like there was a period right here where she was like, I don't know, maybe we'll get back together because I still fucking love him. And then right after that, not right after that, but then on June 2nd, I think they're still in this era because she sings I Wish You Would, which is like, I wish you would come back because you never left it. I wish you knew that. I miss it. Like it's I wish you would is like I forgive everything. I miss you and I just want you back. That's what that's about. And she sang The Lakes. And it's about like their troublesome love and him being her muse. Like she sang that on June 2nd. She sang on June 3rd, Hits Different, which is when like their first breakup, like it hits different. And I think this is when it started to be like, we're probably not going to get back together. And the moment I knew, she sang on June 3rd. And then June 9th, she sings Haunted, which is about crossing the line with someone who was her best friend and not being able to come back from it. And I Almost Do.
Wait, on what date was
June
that?
9th. She sang Haunted and I Almost Do. And I Almost Do is like about almost like calling you to like try to get back together again. And then on June 10th, she sang All You Had to Do Was Stay, which is like about like a relationship where they left and just like decided it wasn't worth it to stay. And Breathe, which is like, I can't breathe without you. Like it's just all lines up.
It does line up.
Bradley, I really wish Taylor would just throw us a bone and put the album tracks in chronological order. She puts in like metaphorical order.
Now that we're like 2 weeks into listening to the album, because I think it really takes so much time to sink in. And I think that's the same thing that happened with Folklore and Evermore as well with me, which is why I think like TTPD is like an amazing album, because I just can't get enough. Like I just keep listening and there's new things that are like popping up here and there. And I didn't write down notes like Christine did, but there's points and I'm like, wait, this doesn't make sense. Like this, like the I Want to Get You Back song, the I Hate It Here, I Look in People's Windows. Like some of these make a lot of sense to me. Like, The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived, that makes sense to me. So Long London, that makes sense. But like the Albatross or like Chloe, Sam, Sophia, or Marcus, that's confusing to me. Like, how is this?
I've got a lot of notes on that one.
Yeah. Like all of these things in her relationship, and most casual listeners, I think the first thing Alex asked me when I put some of these songs on for him, and he's like, so do you just like try to figure out who each song is about? I'm like, yeah, that's the fun part of it. Like the fun part is trying to piece together this diary of the story that she's given us in a way that kind of makes sense to us. But I also love to listen to the songs. But that's why I feel like when I first listened, they all kind of sounded the same to me, because I couldn't really piece together all of her lyrics with the story. And I think she just does an incredible job of giving us a story in a very like cinematic, like you said it once before, listening to Taylor's lyrics is like reading a book because it's kind of just all there.
She's got foreshadowing in there. She's got, she's got metaphors that like thematically pop up. Like,
and it's easy to see. Like I remember my friend Taylor was asking me about, she's like, oh, what's your favorite song right now? I'm like, The Black Dog, because I can literally see Taylor on her phone watching as Joe's little bubble walks into the black dog, and then her just like getting so frustrated and angry and just, coming up with this idea that he is in there meeting someone new. And yeah.
The next track's Love of My Life. Do we want to move on to that one?
Mm-hmm.
This is track 12.
This is heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I want to just like echo back really quick to So Long London, where she says like stitches undone. And throughout this whole album, she's talking about her and Joe's life together and their future together, like a fabric that they wove together. Like they wove this future that they wanted to have and they didn't end up having it. And in Love of My Life, she says, we embroidered the memories of the time I was away. And I think that's in reference to like the time that she was not with him during like post Lover, when they broke up the folklore section. Stitching, we were just kids, babe. Like we were just kids, like we figured it out. And she said, I don't mind. It takes time to like figure out all this shit. There's also a lot of references to like that first, the beginning of the relationship, which is a situationship. I think another way to look at that, like, I don't mind, it takes time, is that like I don't mind like how long it like takes to get used to the idea of like how we'll be together and all that stuff, because he was so hesitant to get in a relationship with her.
Do you think that Taylor loved Joe more than Joe loved Taylor?
I think that Joe is still confused about what he wants. I think he loved her a lot, but like was stuck in a mindset of like a young person and like not like being like, why do we need to get married right now? Like, why do we need to do this? Because he just doesn't, he's like unsure. I feel like he's like wishy-washy. He hasn't like crossed into that. You know how like a lot of young men are in this headspace where they like aren't ready to get married because they're like, well, I want to explore my options, I'm still young. But women are like, I need to start because I have a fucking biological clock and I want to start. I feel like he's not in that. He hasn't crossed over. But she says, you and I go from one kiss to getting married. And I think that's in reference to like, I mean, that's how it probably felt when they came out into the media, like when people started tracking them. And it was like, oh, when are you getting married? Immediately. And then she has all these references. We talked about this a little last time, like still alive, killing time at the cemetery, not quite buried. Because in the one, she says, in my defense, I have none for digging up the grave another time. And like, I think that's in reference to her, like digging up the grave of their relationship. And they did dig it up. And they brought it back to life. But like, they never really left the cemetery, which is so sad.
That's so many years.
I know. But all those years were like the COVID years. So, and she says something that I think is also in the hoax. She says, the hero died, so what's the movie for? And that's a running theme throughout folklore, how like there is no hero here. Like we both fucked up, and stop trying to act like you're holier than thou in this situation. And that's also something that she mentions here. She's like, you low down boy, you stand up guy. So low down, I looked up the definition of a lot of different words she chose to use here to get like the exact what she's trying to say. And low down means like mean, unfair, like someone who plays like dirty tricks. So you low down boy, you stand up guy, and you holy ghost. And I think again, like she's like, like literally being like holier than thou and ghost, because you just like ghost me. Like he'll just disappear. You just don't respond. He just leaves.
Well, she also calls him a
And
cinephile, and that's a running.
Cinephile. That's the next line. Yeah, you cinephile in black and white. And that's also traced all through folklore. Like so many cinema references about their relationship.
The guy on the screen coming home to me.
Yep. Mr. Steal Your Girl, then make her cry.
Ooh.
Like, and the Steal Your Girl thing, you know, they started from like cheating is what we've gathered through these different albums.
Yeah.
The Dancing Phantoms on the Terrace. I feel like that again like brings me back to like the garden gate at night, and, like sneaking in and like thinking about what their future could be together.
Is this the song?
Your arson's.
Is this where?
Yeah.
Is this where she talks about he left her by the heath, or is that in So Long London?
That I think might be in. Is that Down Bad?
Oh, maybe.
I can't remember it. How dare you think it's better like if to have me safe and alone or something she talks about. Yeah. Let's see. Laura says also it seems like Taylor alludes to him not addressing his own mental health issues, which can make your relationship harder too if you feel like you're fighting harder for someone than they're fighting for themselves. Absolutely. I think that's a running theme throughout all of her songs about Joe. That like he needs help and he's not taking care of himself, and it's really affecting their relationship. Yeah, and he's like setting fire to what they have via like not taking care of himself and all the issues that it's causing between them. But yeah, your arsons match, your somber eyes, that like again in Fresh Out the Slammer, she's like, get the matches, push the ashes off the ledge. And in Hoax, she's like, I'm ash from your fire. I feel like all of this all ties together. That's all I have for Love of My Life. Love of My Life is devastating.
It's both Love of My Life and Loss of My Life.
Loss of My
When
Life.
she sang that, when I first heard that, I was just like, oh, this was a song that made me cry. When I heard like the Loss of My Life, I was just, oh man.
Yep.
That is.
Oh, House by the Hearth was So Long London, Bradley said.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So then we get to track 13. Lucky track 13. I can do it with a broken heart.
What was your first thought when you listened to this song?
Oh, I got so excited. The second the beat started, I was like, oh, she's going sarcastic with this, and I am pumped.
This is one of her glitter pen songs. Because you know how she talks about how she has different pens for her songs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Even it's a glitter pen song, but it's still like sad.
It's a banger though.
It is a banger. Well, at first when I listened to it and that beat started going, I'm like, this is Barbie. Like this is summer of 23. Like I will never forget. Like you know how they say summer of 20 or 75 or something like that. This is summer of 23.
Summer of 69.
This is summer of 23 with Taylor Swift going on airs in the U.S. and Barbie coming out and Girlhood on fire. And then so I love that it sounds like Barbie, and also she is Barbie in her glittering one piece that she talks about. But at first I was like, oh, I feel kind of sad listening to this because we were having the time of our lives attending Eras Tour, but she was miserable as she screams it at the end of the song
at the same time.
I know. I think like Eras literally saved her because I don't, if she didn't have this, who knows? But I think she had the time of her life too after, you know, she had to go through all the heartbreak and kind of like living it out in front of people and getting through it. I really wonder, you know what this makes me think of is the Katy Perry documentary. Did you ever watch that?
Yeah.
Okay, and when
You told me about it, but I never watched it.
Oh God, it is. This just lives in my mind rent free. Is when she got the call that Russell Brand wanted a divorce from her, and there is just video of her just crying. She cannot get up, like she's just crying and crying and crying. They're like, "Do you want to go on stage?" Like she's in Brazil. And she's like, she's not even talking. She's just kind of going through it. And then like she finally gets it. And then you see her, like she's crying right before like she has to go up on stage. And then she goes, and she does it. And it's like, that's the imagery I have of Taylor in this.
Yeah. I mean, and there's side by sides of those shows compared to like the shows this year. And you can just see that there's like light in her eyes, like in her movements, like, and she's so much more sure of herself. Like you can see the difference once you have a side by side, but you can't tell IRL.
Do you feel like a sense of kind of relief that we went to her, one of her last shows in August when she had
really
met?
Happy we did because like not only had she met him, but she knew the show so well. Like there's this freedom you have when you have like the muscle memory of everything that goes to add things and not be messed up by it, and to just be silly and not get thrown off by your own like kind of improv in the choreography. And she was so fucking confident by our show. Like she was radiating confidence in a way that I've never seen her as a performer before. Like I just afterward I was like, I've never like before you could tell she was faking it till she made it, and she did. She fucking she's there. Like if you watch the Reputation tour, that is like fake it till you make it Taylor. Like I could see it in just the way she performs. Like she's being like super confident, but like you could tell that maybe she doesn't feel that way. And this, she was like, I am. I am this. But okay, what were we just talking about? The Era Store, her sparkling summer, the summer of 23. Oh, I could do it with a broken heart. What do you give this out of 5 stars? I have 10 million stars now.
This is my like probably if this goes up to bat with Who's Afraid of Little Me, because it's just so fun. I love the explicit version. I was listening to the non-explicit version last night, but I like it when she says bitch.
Oh, I love it. Lights, camera, bitch,
smile. In stilettos for miles.
Yeah, he said he loved me all my life, but that life was too short. Or quite short. It changes throughout the song. But like I love like I'm so depressed I act like it's my birthday every day. I'm so obsessed with him, but he avoids me
like the plague.
Oh man, it's just like so good. And so cheeky as fuck. And the last line of the song, which I didn't hear because there's so many other lyrics, and like I finally saw it when I was looking at the lyrics, is try and come for my job.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Yeah. Do you think,
all right,
like I've seen so many people were like, if she performs this on tour, like I'm leaving or something like that, because it makes, for some people, like they're taking this very literally and they're like, this is about us, like we just kept wanting more. Like no one's ever gonna scream more again.
It's about her. Like this is ridiculous. It's about what's going on in her head and the juxtaposition of like us loving what she's doing.
Yeah, and she's doing a great job of, and that she even says, she's like, what does she say in the line? She's like,
I'm so miserable and not even knows.
Well, that, and then she talks about like, oh, I don't know where I was going with that, but anyways, she talks about,
you know, you're good when you can do it with a broken heart.
Yeah, well, that you know you're good when you can do it with a broken heart.
Yeah, Laura says it's giving Barbie at dancing at her house. Like, have you ever thought about death?
Yes. I kind of want to see this. Like, yes, this is giving Barbie, but this is like a full Ken moment.
The Kenergy. Dun, dun, dun.
Kenergy.
Can you feel? All right. Let's move on to The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived, which has really climbed up the ranks for me.
Yeah, same.
I sing this song all the time now.
Yeah.
Like,
did you see the video?
The bridge?
Did you see the video of me and Nico?
With Nico? Yes, it was so good. I would have died for your sins, but I just died inside. I just, like, scream that sometimes.
Well, I mean, the reverb when she goes, "Were you sent by someone?"
Someone
who wanted me dead.
Me dead. Did you sleep with a gun under our bed? Were you writing a book? Were you like a spy?
A sleeper cell spy.
Cell spy. Yeah. I love when she says, like, in 50 years, will this be declassified? And I'll say good riddance. And you'll say why you did it. Hold on. My thing just moved.
We did not talk about the fact that TTP is pretty much confirmed. Yes, Nicole just said that. She posted a video.
Shit.
We didn't talk about that in news.
We didn't talk about it because we were too excited to talk about the album. But yeah, they posted a short on YouTube where you can see that she's practicing for a new era in the Eras tour, and you can see the TT logo, which was so exciting, but also so sad that we're not going to see it live.
I know. Christine and I went down like a little rabbit hole. We're like, what if we fly to Switzerland?
I was like, Vancouver is closer.
I was just
the Vancouver show, we looked at tickets and it was like $1,250 for the nosebleeds.
No.
I was like, never mind.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll watch the live stream.
We'll watch it. Yeah.
So in that clip, she is, I don't know if anyone saw it, the shoes that she's wearing are the shoes that she's wearing with that black dress.
Yes. In the Fortnite video. Yeah, the little Fortnite booties. Yes.
I'm very interested to see what she wears for this part of the
tour.
The tour. Or section of this. The show.
I feel like it flows really nicely out of Folklore, but we'll see where she puts it. Is it going to be at the end? Probably not. It's not an ending. Like Midnight's is the ending song. Karma is the end. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what selection she chooses to sing. Like, I feel like she will sing Who's Afraid of Little Old Me. Like, I feel like that really goes well with the set. But, all right. Let's go back to The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. You tried to buy some pills from a friend of friends of mine. They just ghosted you. Now you know what it feels like. It feels like she gets ghosted a lot.
Wait, I just had
talked about that.
Pods. Bradley said, I thought it would be cool if she opens up with TTPD and it's like, bye, lover, because the house is burnt down. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool. I like that. Laura says, and I could do it with a broken heart would be so good. The only possible other ending song. You're right. It could. We could end with I could do it with a broken heart, and that would be epic as fuck, actually. Oh my God. Yeah. Nicole says the background dancers look kind of circusy, which would match Who's Afraid of Little Old Me for sure. Yeah. So there's lots of options. We are all going to be waiting on bated breath the next show she does to watch the fucking TTPD set. Like,
she's
oh
in
my God.
France next, so hopefully.
In Paris, I think. Yeah. Very exciting.
Okay, sorry. Smallest Man Who Ever
I think
Lived.
It's May 8th.
Yeah.
Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. Let's get through this one. Okay. So, you treat her like an also ran. I talked about this last time, and I said also run, but it's also ran, which is like somebody who's unsuccessful. I think it came originally from someone who also ran for office and lost because they weren't good enough. In public showed me off. Like, that's an automatic, like, Maddie. Like, this is never about Joe because he never shows her off. But Maddie did. And we've got like another religious. So we've got a bunch of like religious metaphors in here with like guilty as sin, and now in here I would have died for your sins, like Jesus died for our sins. And she's like, I just died inside. And then she says he hid in plain sight. I'm almost thinking like, was part of like when they were starting to have cracks in the relationship when he was still coming to her shows and making it feel like he was supporting
Wait,
her.
are you saying that this is about Joe?
No, it's Maddie.
Okay, sorry. You're still coming to her shows. Got it.
No, Maddie.
Okay.
Maddie came to like 50 million shows. He came to 6 straight shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I have down for The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. We kind of like we pulled apart a lot of the other parts of it in other song threads, like the gun and all that stuff. Do you have more to add? I love this song now, and I love to scream the lyrics.
Oh, I love to scream it. Yeah, do you think a lot of people are saying that this is just as good as All Too Well? I don't think so. Like, as far as like a diss track goes.
I think that I've seen that comparison too. I think I saw memes of like Jake being like, bye, passing the torch to Maddie. Like this puts that one to shame in terms of being a diss track. I think All Too Well hits harder in a relatable way than The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. Because The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived is very clearly about like a guy who's an asshole that you were dating, that you were trying to, I feel like, make good. I feel like this really goes along very much with I can fix them. No, really, I can. And she couldn't, and it led to this. But it is it's savage. Like you should be in prison, but you won't get time. You'll slip into DMs and slide through the bars. Like, ooh.
So what do you think like he did? Because
I think he's involved in some like nasty ass shit.
Yeah, that's true. But like in regards to the 2 graves, 1 gun, like
I think the 2 graves, 1 gun, I think she's like that metaphor is going right to her relationship with Joe. So maybe like he did some gaslighting. I think she feels like the way that he took advantage of her in this state, because whatever he said or did during their time together was right when she was out of a 6-year relationship in a really bad place.
Yeah.
So whatever happened, I think wasn't ethically good. And I think she was made privy to a lot of stuff that he does that is not good.
She does not like to do, or because I know was it this song?
And he was also like saying racist shit on like different podcasts and stuff.
Oh yeah,
like,
I remember that.
He was it was bad.
Is this the song where she talks about he got drugs from a friend of a friend?
Yeah. So you tried to buy some pills from a friend of mine, but they just ghosted you.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yep. All right. The Alchemy.
Okay.
Oh wait. Yeah, The Alchemy is next.
When I first heard this song, I don't think I didn't pay attention to it at all. It didn't. I was just
it was
like
really hard to hear. Yeah.
And then I was singing it this
like,
morning.
Not hard to hear, like it hurt. Like hard to hear, like I couldn't hear it.
Yeah, I couldn't hear it. It sounded like the same. It didn't sound like it was like a standout song. So when I finally looked online, I was like, oh, this one's about Travis. Like this one's about Travis. This is your first song about Travis, and it's the song that I paid the least attention to. I was kind of mad because
it's not the best. It's like my least favorite almost.
Yeah, honestly, I'm so High School way better. By the way,
way better. I mean, The Alchemy is more about like coming to like being ready to be in a relationship with him than like the actual relationship. You know, it's like, oh, we're both like the kings of our crafts, and I'm coming for you, sort of a thing. Yeah, I wrote "Don't love this one" 3 out of 5 stars. My favorite line is like, "What if I told you I'm back? The hospital was a drag."
Yeah.
Like that part I like because it connects to all the other stuff. But yeah, in my like initial reaction video, both me and Cynthia are like, huh. And her husband is like, she made like a ton of football references in that song. And we were like, what?
Yeah, she did.
He's like, yeah, there's a whole verse about football. I was like, huh? I heard no lyrics. So I was forced to just think alchemy, and that's like making gold, but like fake gold, and like gold rush. And I was like trying to figure out how that connects, and I was hearing nothing.
Wait, what? Laura said, so happy my Travie made it to the big game, one step closer to Kelsey being my last name. Have you heard? What is that?
It's a joke. There's a Taylor Swift joke that went viral.
Oh, okay.
Broadley says the alchemy is the London boy of TTBD. She threw everything she knew about London in one song, and then she did the same with football.
Oh my gosh.
La 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 la.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's funny. Nicole says I've heard lots of people arguing that this song isn't about Travis, but like, come on, it's covered in football refs. Yeah, it's like bathed in football references. Like when you look at it, like I touched down and blah blah blah. Yeah, so I think it's definitely
the greatest
about, like,
in the league, right?
Yeah, and she sang clean. So this is kind of, we already talked about this, but like she sang clean again when like I feel like she was done with Joe. She did clean twice within like a series of like weeks because she was clean from what's his name, Maddie. Then clean again because she's like, we're done with Joe.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Okay. Next, Clara Bow. I feel like I have not much to say because Clara Bow is more straightforward. What do you want to say about Clara Bow?
Well, I really, at first I was like, oh, that's so nice. But then
it's pretty catchy.
It's very catchy. I really like the song. And I was like, wait, Stevie Nicks? What? At first I didn't understand it, but then now I know I totally understand it. It's just, how, someone who wants to be an icon or a star or a singer comes to Hollywood and they're like, oh, you look just like Stevie Nicks, but you maybe have this flair. Like when she says it about herself, like, oh, you remind me of Taylor Swift, but you have more edge than she ever did. It makes me a little sad.
It's about, it's about the pressure on women to keep up, like, the being this icon and like being just as dazzling every time, but there's inevitably someone that comes around. It's got nothing new vibes where it's like, well, you're them but better. And how with women it's always like you have to be replacing them instead of just being alongside them and like a new icon, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, it is sad. It's
look like Taylor Swift.
This light dazzling. Yeah, I love this song. I think it's a gorgeous song, and it's a very reflective song too. But no, I love it.
It's a nothing new meets the man almost vibes for me. Like it's got like an undertone of like feminist frustration. But it's the pressure of like wanting to be a star and then like replacing somebody and being told you're like better than another woman and all that shit.
I love that like she brought an icon like back into the light because I had no idea who Clara Bow was, but we ended up like, having to
look her up
and learn about her story. So
track 15 is The Black Dog, which we talked about so much. I fucking love The Black Dog.
Wait, is that track?
Do you have anything to add?
Did you miss a number? Is that you said track?
Did I misnumber them?
You said track 16.
Oh yeah, I did. I misnumbered it. Yeah, it's track 16.
Okay,
or higher.
Well, The Black Dog.
Track 17. It's track 17.
Oh my God. The Black Dog is one of my favorite songs.
Me too.
I think it goes so. I put it on my Instagram story, but So Long London, The Black Dog, Who's Afraid of Little Me. I Can Do With a Broken Heart. And then I don't remember what Florida. Florida's in there somewhere.
Florida. I just scream Florida all the time now.
Me too. Yeah, I think just you said it last episode, but like I didn't know when she said like I hope it's shitty. When you
black
dog, I just screamed that now.
Yeah, I have switched the CD out in my car, and I've gotten to sing the Black Dog and scream, "I hope it's shitty, the Black Dog," once thus far while driving. Mm-hmm. I tried to film it. My phone just fell off the dashboard, and I was like, whatever. Anyway, all right. Let's move on. Oh wait, do you have things you want to say about the Black Dog? I kind of really dove into it earlier.
I mean, you did, and I already kind of talked about like how this is like I can just see this in my mind, and I talked about last episode that I want to walk into the Black Dog.
Yeah.
No, I love this song.
This song sent me down a rabbit hole to go look through You're Losing Me with the perspective of having listened to this album. And, you know, she says, you say you don't understand me. I say, I know you don't. And then there's, you know, a reference in this album where it's like, he doesn't understand me. My face was gray, but you wouldn't admit we were sick. That's all over this album. Fresh out the slammer, gray and blue tunnels, blah, blah, blah. In You're Losing Me, she says, and all I did was bleed while I tried to be the bravest soldier. So another blood reference. I'll never forget, like, Cardigan, you mark me like a blood stain. That was like the first time she was like, Joe has to hit me like that. Front lines, don't you ignore me. I'm the best thing at this party. Like, I can do it with a broken heart. Like, he avoids me like the plague. Mm-hmm. I know. In Fortnite, she says he doesn't pick up. And I was like, I made a note to look back at that. And I didn't. But, okay. I'm going to Get You Back. Comes after the Black Dog, which we already really dug into.
I also don't. This is not my favorite song on the track. I don't.
I'm gonna get you back. Yeah.
It's funny because you know Olivia Rodrigo also came out with a song kind of like this, and it's a lot better.
Well, her song's completely different though. Than this song. This song is like totally saying something completely different.
I know. Yeah, but I you know, this song I'm like, I could care less about it.
Yeah. No, I mean I like it for what I can pull out of it.
Yeah.
But I don't like it to like sing to, like whether I'm gonna curse you, whether I'm gonna be your wife or I'm gonna break your bike, whatever she says.
Break your bike, yeah. I'm gonna get you back.
Get you back. Okay. The next song is The Albatross, which I wrote down a bunch of stuff from, but I kind of talked about it already. Like, wise men once said, wild winds are the death to the candle. This kind of gives those like da-na, na-na, kind of gives the opening of Evermore.
Yeah.
Willow. One bad seed kills the garden, one less. So it's interesting. She's like talking about wise men, and she's like, wise men also believed fake news. So wise men aren't wise always.
I guess I'll say this to the end. I don't know. So the first half of the album we got is very Jack Antonoff, and then the second half is very Aaron Dessner. Do you have a preference of which half you like?
Well, I think, you know, like one of our favorite songs from the first half is Aaron Dessner, and that's So Long London.
Yeah.
I do like Upon First Listen, the Aaron Dessner one's better, and then the ones from Jack Antonoff take more time to grow on me, and then I like them. So I like them both. It's just the way that I can digest them. It takes longer with the Jack Antonoff album. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I like more songs on the Jack Antonoff side, but my favorite is So Long London. But I feel like I'm going to be singing a lot of the second half more and more.
Yeah. I mean, the Black Dog is so good.
The Black Dog is so good, yeah.
And I feel like she put her stronger like I think she put the catchier songs on the first half because that's what the album quote is. But a lot of like the less radio-y songs are also really beautiful, and she wanted to get those stories on the album, and that's why she has that whole second half.
I would have changed out the Black Dog for I Can Fix Him. No, really, I can. Just so I can get that in there. And then I think I think
thematically, the first half is a lot more about like the idea of fixing someone who's trying to be in a relationship with someone who you can fix and not being able to, right?
And then I would have switched out the alchemy with So High School.
Yeah, I would have switched that one out too. But like, it doesn't match. I kind of understand that it doesn't match the vibe at all of like the tortured poet.
Yeah, you're right.
Like I understand why she did what she did.
Yeah, no, I do too. Okay, the albatross. You know, I didn't know what until you talked about what an albatross was when we
a curse.
Wait, it's a curse?
Yeah, it's a psychological burden, a curse. Like she's the albatross.
Oh my god.
Like,
wait. I thought a psychological burden?
Yeah.
I thought you said bird. So I was thinking Taylor Swift was a bird this whole time.
Oh, an albatross is literally a bird, but metaphorically it's a curse.
Oh!
It's a psychological burden. What? Oh my god.
But wait, an albatross is a bird though, right?
It is a bird, yeah. But like metaphorically, it's used to represent a curse and a psychological burden, like something that prevents you from getting what you want.
Oh, Bradley said, I feel like the second half reeks of Joe songs she wrote pre-Eras tour. Yeah, because it feels...
The manuscript and Peter aren't necessarily pre-Eras tour.
I feel like she's been writing the manuscript for a long time, or like she had this idea for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like she's been working on it for a long time. But I don't think it was like finished till she knew exactly. Like, I think Thank You, Amy. She wrote that a while ago.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay, sorry.
But I think The Prophecy is more recent.
Oh, definitely.
For sure. I think that may have been like after everything with Maddie and Joe fell apart. All right. Let's see here. Where were we? On the albatross. Okay, yeah. We kind of talked about albatross, and I talked about how, you know, she talks about protecting him as the albatross, spreading her wings like a parachute. And when the sky rains fall on you, kind of calls back to like, I can never give you peace. Like the rain's always going to fall. All that stuff.
Bradley pointed out only liquor anoints you. The way she says liquor, like it really scratches like a nice itch in the back of my brain. It's like, it's such a good, like, only liquor anoints you.
All right. Then we go to track 20. Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus. And this track is so sad. Ugh. I mean, it reeks of like her kind of like thinking that he's cheating on her with other girls, like imagining it, but not really doing anything about it. And him doing the same thing when he realizes that maybe she's like thinking about being with other people and not doing anything about it. And like the line, as the decade would play us for fools and you saw my bones out with somebody new, is so sad. And again, the cruel summer, like a knife waiting for you to cut me to the bone. Like he did do it. He cut her to the bone. And then they're like, if you wanted me dead, just say I loved you. Oh. Instead of like present tense, I love you. And then say I loved you the way that you were. If you want to like, if you want to kill my cold, cold heart, just say I loved you the way that you were.
Oh, yeah.
And just say you've always wondered. And she says, I changed into goddesses, villains, and fools, all to outrun my desertion of you.
Yeah.
I see that again as like her like morphing into different characters as she writes her songs and trying to see things from different point of views as she wrote like Folklore and Evermore. And then there's this like really beautiful line of she's like, if I trace the glint in your eye back to when I first crashed into you, impaired by my youth and I didn't know what to do, and she was like broken after everything with like the 2016 hating on Taylor situation, like that's when she met him. And then she says like, so if I sell my apartment and you have some kids with an internet starlet, like if I sell my apartment, Cornelia Street, and you have kids with some internet starlet, which goes right back to the one where she's like, you met someone from the internet. Will that make your memory fade from this scarlet maroon? Like it never happened. Then this threw me back to maroon. And I went and saw Maroon from a whole different perspective, because that's another thing that like never really quite made sense to me.
Me either.
Like I couldn't connect it to any person. And now I'm thinking like maybe that's like referencing the night that her and Joe first like kind of fell apart, that first time before Folklore and shit. So I went back to Maroon. I went through all the lyrics, and she talks about like blood rushing into her cheeks and wine, which wine and rosé is always talked about with Joe, and blood, and the lips I used to call home. Joe is always home. So, and I was like, who has she dated that would ever have a roommate? And honestly, the only person is Joe. They're all too wealthy to have roommates. Like, I remember feeling so confused about that, because she talks about meeting him, dancing with him at that night at the Met Gala, and it either had to be Hiddleston to me because of that, but now I'm like, it could have also been Joe, because she also met him that night, and it doesn't have to correlate with like the timeline. And the rubies that I gave up always brought me to Hiddleston because of Getaway Car. But she could be saying she gave up those rubies with him when they were like in the Getaway Car to go to Joe, which makes so much more sense. And now when I was listening to this and really pulling it apart, there's all these references to Joe in a hallway. Like in so many songs. And there's another hallway reference in this. Hollow-eyed in the hallway. Looked up at the sky and it was maroon. Also, Joe is always like up in the fucking sky, because they're like, love is heavenly and cosmic.
Yeah. Joe is always in the sky.
And waking up with your memory over me, that's a real fucking legacy. I was like, why would she be talking about Hiddleston in that way? She's talking about Joe.
Oof. I always thought
it really reframed it.
Yeah, I always thought Maroon was about Karlie Kloss. But yeah, when she said Maroon in this song, I was like, oh, Maroon.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. Hold on a minute. Rewind. Yeah, because anyway, I'm really glad she did that. Because that's one of those mysteries in my head that I couldn't quite crack.
Oh wait, okay, Bradley, I love you. You're new here, but you are saying some great things. Bradley says, I always thought Maroon was about getting back with someone after a break, and they haven't changed. Like there are still flags. Maybe they aren't red flags, but they are maroon. And there is a Hall reference in Exile too.
There's something about them with the Hall. I kept hearing it. When I was going back, I was like, there we go again.
Laura thinks maroon.
It's in Coney Island too, I think.
Laura thinks maroon is about Harry Styles, because Harry Styles has a song called "Meet Me in the Hallway."
I am not convinced, because I feel like I saw too many lines drawn to the Met Gala, and that's where she met Hiddleston and what's his name, Joe. Yeah. But again, can be interpreted in many different ways, as all of her songs can. All right. How did it end? The second track 5. This song's devastating.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
The postmortem of her and Joe.
Tree. D-Y.
D-Y-I-N-G. Okay. I did some Googling to find out what so he was a hothouse flower to my outdoorsman. I think the hothouse flower is Joe, a flower that isn't hardy enough to grow under natural conditions. It has to be pampered and grown in a greenhouse or a hothouse. So, and then I think my outdoorsman is Travis. I think she's referencing Travis there because this is a postmortem situation where she's looking back on it. And our maladies were such that we could not cure them. And you're losing me. She talks about them being sick.
I think the outdoorsman is her because she's the one who likes to be out. She likes to, I'm going out tonight. She likes to be seen and in public, and she doesn't,
That's another way to look at it for sure. The way that she said it sounded like possessive to me. So I thought that she was like saying my outdoorsman. And I really think he does fit that. Like he's like sturdy and strong and like can withstand more light being on him in terms of like the public eye. Yeah, when she's like, it's happening again. It's happening again. Like it's so sad. Like, because they've already done this. They've already had to answer, like, what happened. And now she has to explain it again and again. And that feeling of, like, explaining how your relationship fell apart again and again is just so hard when you're in the thick of it. We fell victim to interlopers' glances. So I also went and looked up, like, exactly what an interloper is. It's a person who is like intruding in a situation or a place where they're not wanted or doesn't belong, and they meddle in the affairs of others. And I think that's referencing how they both ended up kind of cheating. Come one, come all, I think is like a circus reference to like the circus made her mean. That she says in Who's Afraid of Little Old Me.
As I listened to this a bajillion times, it's really painting a picture of, everyone asking about, the 6-year relationship and wondering like, where did it go wrong? What happened? Because she talks about, like I was seen in a shop and
wandering around lost.
And then someone asked like, how did it end? And then they go and they tell their friends and their cousins and their husbands. And then
they have all this gossip to share that they're like excited to talk about. It's like the dark side of like empathy. It's got a lot of layers. A lot of layers in this song. How did it end? Yeah, the image of like Taylor like wandering the streets after like breaking up and not knowing to do with herself is so sad. It reminds me of an episode of Friends where I feel like Ross has Monica and he's like, look who I found wandering around 6th Avenue or something after she broke up with Richard.
Oh, that's a terrible breakup.
All right. We got into high school, track 22.
Love this song.
I feel like should this be our last song and just finish it up the next time?
No, we're almost,
fine. We have so many left to go. We have 10 songs left.
We don't have any extra time. Our next episode is already planned.
I know you just crackled. Oh, what were you saying?
Our next episode is already planned. Next 2.
I know it is. I know. So could we just do like a couple songs in the beginning of the episode?
No.
All right, let's keep going. So high school. This one's very self-explanatory. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It's about Travis. It's very happy.
It's very happy.
It's very straightforward. How did you feel?
I love this song. But yeah, he talks about how she has to keep her sighs quiet because the friends in the other room. I'm like, ooh, spicy.
They're all in the same room, I think, playing like.
Oh yeah, and like he's like touching her like under the blanket while they're playing Grand Theft Auto. I was like, wow.
Oh my god. Yeah, that song,
Yeah.
which is really fun.
Mhm.
So high school. It's just like a happy-go-lucky song.
Mhm.
Then we have I Hate It Here. I think this is very much about Maddie Healy. She's like my eternal consolation prize.
Oh, but she talks. I couldn't. It feels like a Joe song to me.
It feels like a song to me after Joe, while she's like in the situationship with Maddie. And then she makes that reference to like, my friends and I would play this game with what decade you want to be living in, and she said the 1830s without all the racists and without getting married to the highest bidder. And then all her friends just like kind of look down because she's dating a racist person who said racist things. Maddie Healy. Like, it was awkward. That's how I interpreted that. And they said that in the song, she says that he made her feel worthless. And that ties right back to like her treating her like an also ran to me, which like treating someone like they're like unsuccessful and less than you. And then tell me something awful, like you're a poet trapped in the body of a finance guy. I think that's like a sarcastic, like that's just shut up. That's him. Yeah. That's Maddie.
Yeah. Wait, sorry. Can we go back to high school? I totally forgot about this. Laura just pointed it out. Did you see the girl that did the Who Would Kiss, Marry, Kill? So that girl is Christina Zias, and she's one of my friends.
Oh my God.
she's a plus size influencer.
The one that did that interview with him?
Yes. She's also Greek, but she did the interview with Travis way back in the day of like, who would you kiss, marry, kill? Like Taylor Swift, blah, 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 blah. And of course he picks Kiss, Taylor Swift, right? Or did he kill her? I can't remember.
I think he did Kiss.
Yeah, right.
But she said she's betting on all three.
Yeah.
For them.
Well, kill. Oof. Anyways, I just thought that was funny because yes. Well, she didn't make it her whole internet personality. She was someone before that interview. But I would too if I had a video back in the day with Travis and you're somehow now linked to Taylor Swift and she's referenced that video, I'd be like, oh my gosh, Taylor's seen my face.
Yeah, that was a fun part of the song where she referenced that interview. All right, back to I Hate It Here.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
It's a sad disassociating song, or like going to your mind palace and living in like your different stories.
I love all the book girlies.
It's very reader coded.
Yeah, all the book girlies using this in their videos.
Yeah, I've seen a lot on TikTok.
This is where she says the lunar.
Yeah. I go to lunar valleys or something in my mind.
So do you think that
only the gentle survive? Do you think
she's referencing Joe's?
Yeah, I think she might be referencing like What Ifs with Joe. This is a depressing song. I hate it here. It's catchy though. It started to really grow on me the more I listened to it.
No, I really like this song too.
Thank you, Amy. There's a bronze spray tan statue of you in my town. I feel like this is really giving Mean. Too. She references back to Mean when she's like, all that time you were throwing punches, I was building something. Yeah, and it's really like a catchy, hopeful bop, in my opinion.
Oh, my mother is a saintly woman.
But she used to wish that you were dead.
Gosh. I love how Taylor, a lot of people just don't say those words anymore, but she really just goes for it. They don't say it online.
I think a lot of artists are doing that right now. Because Olivia did that a lot in her new album too. I wrote 1,000 songs that you find uncool. I built a legacy that you cannot undo.
Yeah.
When I count the scars, there's a moment of truth. There wouldn't be this without you.
Yeah.
So.
I'm like, oh, that's nice. Do you really think that the KIM should be capitalized in this?
I think she was feeling petty. I don't think it needs to be. I think I before that I was like, this is about Kim. And then you were like, yeah, the KIM is capitalized.
Thank you, Amy.
Like, yes, it is. I think it was like a sarcastic joke when she was like, no one's going to know that this is about me and you. And then she's like, little K-I. Thank you.
Yeah, I changed. She's like, I changed all the defining
Characteristics
I'm like,
of
bronze
you.
statue. Okay. Also,
One day your daughter's going to come and sing a song that's mine.
Laura says I would be so mad if I were a celebrity's kid who could feasibly meet Taylor Swift, but then my mom made so much beef with her that it would never happen.
Yeah.
Taylor talks a lot about like her hometown in all of these songs. Like she references her hometown all the time.
Well, her hometown also is like a big metaphor for like Joe sometimes, her home and her hometown. So it's a little like I'd have to go back and do some more deep diving on that. But yeah, she does talk about her hometown being throwing punches at her and being dropped there. But I think she's making like high school references in the song with their hometown. Like it sounds like she's referring to being bullied in high school and comparing their relationship to like a high school bully.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Should we move on to I look in people's windows. I'm addicted to the what ifs. I go to Christmas parties from the outside. I'm addicted to the if only. So, I mean, to me, this sounds like a song of like wondering about like what if about Joe, like what if their eyes met one last time. Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. And I think this is one that like I don't hate this song. I don't like go to this song.
Me either. I'm like,
yeah.
I thought this was about her like being a sleuth online.
I mean, I think it also is about that too. I think there's always like a level of like how it applies to all of us, and then there's a level of like how it like personally seeded from her life.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because I know, because you know, when you're trying to figure out what these songs are about, and then you kind of get what they're about, and then you're like, okay, that's what they're about, and then you kind of relate them back to your life.
Yeah, then there's another level, which all her songs have so many levels. That's why they're so wonderful. Like you can interpret them in so many different ways, and that's like both of those interpretations I think are very real to her. Like she does look in people's windows online all the time. She like falls into rabbit holes, like looking through fans, and like that's how she picks them out to come to her different fan things. But I do feel like she's addicted to the if only this had done this, would it have been different?
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Bradley says, fun idea. The song Peter is from Wendy's perspective, but I look in people's windows as from Peter's perspective, watching Wendy grow up and move and have a family with someone else.
That's sad. But I feel like that's what she feels like when she looks at her ex's windows too. Like, you know how she talks about in Midnight Rain and he's like home with his family and she couldn't do that. She wanted like the pain of like looking for fame. But she does really want a family because she's always thinking about like the what ifs. And that's a lot of Midnights is that, like kind of thinking about past relationships and that stuff. All right. Let's move on to The Prophecy, my other favorite. Oh, I feel like I relate to this so hard.
Me too.
This one made me cry, legit. I thought I caught lightning in a bottle. Brings me right back to Dress. Like my favorite line, like, at least we were electrified. And if we get burned, at least we get electrified. And in this song, she says, like, and I still dream about him and no sign of soulmates. I'm just a paperweight in shades of gray. And I'm like, those are her albums. Like, she's only like her stories when she doesn't have her own love. The line when she's like, this breaks my heart every time when I hear her say, like, I don't want money. I just want someone who's like willing to be in my company. Like,
yeah.
And I feel like there's a callback in here to Marjorie. There's like these ooh,
yeah.
that sound a lot like the Marjorie oohs in the back. Like she's almost, and in Marjorie, she talks about how she should have asked her grandma more, what died didn't stay dead. Like she's like kind of calling out to her for guidance. I should have asked you more questions. I should have asked you how to be, because like she left all her dreams to her, and she's like fulfilling these different these dreams of like making it in this industry, and she didn't ask her grandma for enough advice. Yeah, it was really beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, for those, I think like a general explanation of the prophecy is basically the prophecy that she's never going to have someone, and that she keeps going back to the starting line again and again and again.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot about her thinking like she makes all of her money and her career off of like broken relationships, and as she like cursed herself to never actually have a successful one, because this is like her career and why she's so successful.
Oh,
it's really sad.
Oh, that's even sadder.
Yeah.
Laura says the prophecy is so sad in conversation with Invisible String and Mastermind.
Woo-hoo. Yeah, the whole like Invisible String stuff, there's a lot in this album about like it. She talks about, I think it might be in one of her last few songs here, where she talks about like the goddess of time, and was she lying because it feels like they were fated to meet at these different times, and in Invisible String there's all these like fated moments together, but was the goddess of time just lying? Like they weren't fated, it was counterfeit. It's so sad.
Okay,
all right,
Cassandra,
do we have any more?
No.
Cassandra. Okay, so this is where my notes end, but I listened to Cassandra a bunch of times, and I feel like she talks about all her past lives, and I feel like a lot of these songs are like different past lives of hers. Like I feel like Robin is her childhood, and Cassandra is her before all the stuff, before like the old Taylor is dead. Because she talks about how she lost it all, which could also all be referencing to when she lost all of her songs. Go ahead.
Does she say Cassandra in the song?
She said they killed Cassandra first because she tried to warn the town about what was going to happen. So I feel like they could have killed Cassandra first, meaning like they killed the younger her, like personality, you know, her era there, because of the whole Kanye thing with Kim, like the whole 2016 era thing. Or like, I think this is either in reference to that, or if it's in reference to both, or when they sold her songs and she came out and said all these things about how she was trying to buy them and blah blah blah, and Scooter Braun said like, no she wasn't, no one told us anything, and no one believed her. She's like, do you believe me now? Like the truth comes out and everyone's so fucking quiet, it's just like a whisper, but like everyone wants to burn me down.
Are those the lyrics from the song?
In the moment.
I feel like I do not have a handle on this song whatsoever. Like I never like.
Yeah, these lyrics are in there, but it's not like an intense beat. So like you have to look at the lyrics. Yeah.
I feel like this is about her
talking about
her master tracks then, right?
It could very easily be about them, yeah. And I feel like, you know, that huge scandal where all these celebrities stopped being managed by Scooter Braun last year, and nothing ever came out with what he did. Like, and she called it out in vigilante shit that he was like doing illegal stuff, and his wife divorced him and all that stuff. But when the truth actually came out that something was bad, and all the people that were standing up for him, you remember, like all these celebrities were like, Scooter Braun's great.
Oh yeah.
And no one believed her, and they just like wanted to be like, fuck you, you're lying. And now it came out and they all left him, but no one said anything. No one cared to like actually.
That's true. Yeah.
Be like, yeah, you were right.
Laura said Cassandra being right after the prophecy. Cassandra from mythology was cursed to have true prophecies that nobody believed.
Oh,
this is Greek
so
mythology.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
See, she's got so many layers. So many fucking layers. That's why she picked the name Cassandra then, for sure.
Yeah. Cassandra foresaw the fall of
Troy. Look at that. Well, see, this also correlates with Kanye because the fall of Kanye and the fall of Scooter Braun happened very close together.
I think this is
both during the tour.
Yeah.
The trash took itself out.
I love that. Okay. I have better appreciation for the song
now. Then we have Peter.
Yeah.
Which
this is sad.
Is about her and Joe and the Peter and Wendy. And she's talking about like when he was 25 and like the promises he made and how they've expired. It's really sad.
It's so sad.
Because she thought it wasn't over when they were on their break and they were over.
And she was just waiting.
Yeah. And she had like the lamp on. She put the lamp on even though like he was moving on. She was waiting for him to come back and get her and bring her back up to like the cosmic love. And she didn't want to come back down. She wanted him to come down with his feet on the ground and like ready to like move forward together and like have a family and stuff, I think.
And
sad.
I think the last line is like she's now like a woman who's no longer waiting or something like that at the very end of the song.
Yeah, well, the woman in the window turned off the light. Yeah. She's not waiting anymore. She's done. Yeah. It's like the clean. And then we have the Bolter, which is the second track, 13. The Bolter is told, it opens from an interesting perspective. I'm thinking it like her mom fell through the ice and she's like using this as like kind of that, what is it called? Generational trauma, sort of a metaphor when she's talking about how it felt like when she fell through the ice and she came out of it alive. Yeah.
This one I also don't have a handle.
Like the Bolter is her.
Yeah, I don't have a handle on this one. It doesn't really like these besides Peter, like Cassandra, the Bolter, and Robin. I don't really know these very well, and I haven't like really figured them out.
Yeah. So the Bolter, it's basically talking about like bolting. She ends up bolting from relationships and stuff, and she likes it's talking about Maddie, and just like any good trophy hunter. Like he wanted a cat, wanted her bad, just like any good trophy hunter. And she likes the way it tastes taming a bear, making him care, watching him jump and then pulling him under. And at first blush, this is fate. When it's all roses, portrait poses, Central Park Lake and tiny rowboats. What a charming Saturday. Then that's when she sees the littlest leaks down on the floorboards and she just knows she must bolt. Like, I feel like there was like a day when they were together when she started to like see the flags more clearly because she was blinded by them in the beginning because she thought she could, tame the bad boy and this would distract her from her relationship falling apart. Started with a kiss, oh, we must stop meeting like this, but it always ends with a town car speeding out the drive one evening. In the big scheme of things, I feel like it's like about her past and how she like bolts from different things, but I think in the smaller scheme of things, it's about Maddie and trying to tame the bear. And then, there's a lot of layers in this one too. But it's her track 13 of the second album. So I think it's definitely like she's the Bolter and it's not like her mother.
What does track 5 mean?
Track 5 just means it's like a very personal song.
Okay, got it. Because usually, are those about her mom? Or what are the ones about her mom? Is that track 8?
No, I don't think there's like a number that's usually about her mom.
Okay.
Track 5 is like when it's usually like a really vulnerable song that she wrote. Let me see did I say what this track 5 was? It's 1, 2, 3, 4. How did it end? Yeah. Okay. Then we have Robin, which I think is like one of her past lives, which is like her as a child and her being protected from like the cruelties of the world, and then her learning how to bounce back. Okay, she says this line like bounce back like a trampoline, and that's one of like the best lines in one of Tessa Violet's songs. I think it's the one that's like, I'm the one to beat, and she also says I'm the one to beat, and I'm like, I felt a little weird about it because I'm like, did she hear that song?
Oh, this is the one where it goes like, way to go, tiger, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's not said in the same way, but it's like the same lyrics woven in.
It's named after
that
Aaron
happens.
Dessner's kid. What?
Robin.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's definitely about childhood. Yeah, Robin doesn't really stand out to me at all. It's just kind of there. And then we have the manuscript.
Okay, well, can I just tell you, at first, when Tay and I were listening to the Robin, we thought this was about her cats.
That's really funny.
She has never made a song about her cats, like a full song. She references them, like a cat sitting in her lap. But I need a song about her cats.
That would be like a me. Oh my God. All right, let's finish this. Let's finish this. All right, the last song is the manuscript. It's heartbreaking as fuck. I definitely cried. And now and then she rereads the manuscript of the entire torrid affair. And I feel like this is everything. She's referencing like her relationship with Joe as the manuscript. Like, why did we go through all of that? And it was for this. It was for the art.
Okay, wait. No. But she goes through all of her relationships. This is like...
She does.
Okay.
But to me, it feels like really Joe-ish. But I think it's in the big picture, yes, it's all of her relationships. But also, like, it feels Joey, just like in the vibe, like the professor. I feel like the professor is Joe, who says to write what you know, looking backwards might be the only way to move forward. Then the actors were hitting their marks, and the slow dance was alight with the sparks, and the tears fell in synchronicity with the score. Like, I just feel like the agony, this is the most agonizing relationship end.
Mm-hmm. When I first heard that, like, the actors hitting their marks, I was like, well, because you know that there was a big announcement about like her directing like a feature film, and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
is this about that? Are we gonna get a whole movie about her life?
I mean, there could be another layer there. You never know.
No, every time if I truly listen to this song and I like take time, I'll cry every time. Every time. It's
It's heartbreaking.
Because the story is mine anymore. Yeah, every time.
Isn't mine anymore. I mean, she talks about, again, in other announcements about this album, how this really annoyed me because I see like men be thinking they know things and like, isn't it better to move forward and not dredge up the past? Like, why is she bringing this up? And the whole reason why you put this stuff into your art is so that you can move forward. This is how you move forward. He's like, you put the stories into your art and make, like, internally you make peace with it and you move past it and you heal from it by talking about it. And that's what this whole album is, like, putting this, she says, like, once you put the story down on paper, like, it sets you free and you can move forward. She said that in one of her like messages from like the Poets Society that she put out. Once the saddest story is on paper, it's not as sad anymore. But yeah, it's like what John Green says, like, when I put up my book, when it's out, it's not mine anymore. It's everyone who reads it. And now it's all of these songs are everyone else's to interpret and do what they want with.
Such a good ending to the whole album.
It really is. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Well,
we did it.
We did. 2 hours and 16 minutes.
We did it. That was our breakdown of TTPD. We did it in 2 parts. Fuck yeah. We're going to move on to Mary Kiss Cliff.
So at first I had Evermore, Folklore, and TTPD, but I don't know. I don't know if we can rank TTPD yet because I feel like we still need more time with it. And I already foresaw Christine and I marrying Folklore. I was like, this is too easy. All right, so we're doing starches.
This is so random.
Mary Kiss Cliff, rice, potatoes, or noodles.
Oh my God. I am going to
Is this easy or hard
marry
for you?
potatoes. It's easy. Marry potatoes, Kiss noodles, and Cliff rice.
Oh.
What about you?
I am going to, oh my Lord. I think I'm going to marry potatoes. I'm going to Kiss rice. I'm going to Cliff noodles.
You're gonna Cliff noodles?
Yeah, I love pasta and all that, but like I don't need that in my life. I love I love wild rice soup. I love what's the like fancy rice dish where you have to like make it with the chicken broth?
I don't know because I don't like rice that much.
Oh, risotto. Thank you, Nicole.
Oh, risotto.
I love risotto. Oh. And I make a stroganoff dish with rice, and it's my favorite thing.
Laura, it seems like potatoes is cheating on all of us with each other who all want to marry potatoes. Potatoes are too good. There's too many great ways to cook them.
There's too many. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. I mean, so many good ways.
You can do so many good things with potatoes. Roast them, fry them, everything. They can be in so many different dishes. They're good. All right. Well, that was our Taylor Swift Tortured Poets Department second part episode. That was really fun and sad. We're off to record our Fangirl Tea Time episode for this week. I've got updates from New Jersey and other things, and I'm sure Natasha has updates too. Before you go, I want to remind you to follow us on social media. Chloe Laverson does our socials, and she's amazing. She's doing such a great job. So you can follow us on Instagram at Those Working Fangirls or TikTok at Those Working Fangirls. And, of course, on the podcast apps, Those Working Fangirls, so you don't miss episodes. And our podcast is edited by Ricky McBrayer and Alex Polis. Our music is done by Cole Jenkins, and the vocals are by Heather Tresca. And we release episodes every Friday, and Chapter Chat is released every Thursday. We're not going to have Chapter Chat this week. It'll be back next week because we have a very chaotic next 24 hours, and I just got back from New Jersey, so we did not have time to record. But we will be back next week with Chapter Chat, and that comes out every Thursday, normally.
Yes.
Maybe I'll drop our bonus episode that we recorded last, like Pride and Prejudice, on this Thursday morning instead.
For the patrons. Yeah.
All right. For the Team Edward and Up patrons, they get a bonus episode every month. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We will see you in a moment for tea time if you're coming to that. If not, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time, guys. Bye. I'm Christine.
Bye. I'm Natasha.
Bye. We messed up the outro. Bye.